So first things first, I do apologise, I'm a little bit croaky. I've not been doing karaoke, but I've got a little frog in my throat, so I don't normally talk like this. Well, I talk like this, but not like this. So if I get a bit croaky and hoarse, my friend at the back there will turn up the volume. So the idea behind this morning's chit-chat, good news and bad news. The bad news is it's a bit interactive, so I might be asking you questions. The good news is we're going to kick round the most kick-aroundable subject in the world if you're fixing cars for money for other people. And we're going to maybe think about some of the reasons it goes well and some of the reasons it goes not so well. And we're going to think about if there's a change in our approach or process that may give us an advantage. Sound fair enough? Nobody has left, nobody has thrown anything, so I think we might be on the right track. Cool. So, aptly titled Making Money from Diagnostics, because we are in business and the business requires, in exchange for money, services. It comes as a great surprise to some people when you talk about diagnostics on their car. What, you're going to charge me for plugging it in? Yes, this is a business. You are a customer, hopefully, where you'll exchange my services for your money. And that sometimes is a start point of the relationship going forward. It started on a bit of a negative. They've gone, oh, he wants paying for this. So, what signs were you putting up? Not literal signs, but metaphorical signs that you were going to charge before you started the process. How have you lined your customer up that this is what's going to happen? You get a phone call, got a light on my car, wheel it up. And sometimes that's the beginning part of the process. The customer is wheeling it up for what, in exchange for what. And so we're going to think about the process from there going forward. There's a big, very long marketing word there called a proposition. Now, proposition also happens if you're happening to get with a partner. The proposition is I'm down on one knee, proposing. So the proposing is you're posing a question, hoping and looking for an answer of yes or no. And the proposition when you get married is you've obviously had a bit of a relationship and she knows or he knows that you're not a mad axe murderer and they're going to accept your proposition, take the ring, and you're going to get married and live happily ever after. So that's the definition of a proposition. So we also do this to our customers. We are proposing a business opportunity or relationship. How well are you proposing to your customers? Fancy a bit? So a lot of the propositions I see are, fancy a bit? Not sure, what do you mean? Okay, so if we're not clear in our proposition, when we get down to the nuts and bolts of the relationship, and the terms of that relationship aren't clear, there can be disappointment. Oh, by fancy bit, you meant food. Or something different. So the communication is slightly misaligned. So our proposition has to be very clear to our customers. What are you doing in exchange for what? What is your proposition to your customers? And that's a rhetorical question. How do they know what they're getting when they come to you for whatever it is you offer them? Well, and what's our view about that? So if we pick the word diagnostic, right, there is a word, the most abused word in the world. What is a diagnostic? And what is your diagnostic compared to your diagnostic? Are you plugging in? Are you doing some analysis? Are we feeling the energy from the car? How do we do it? What we're doing with our what I reckon is, I'm going to Google that. That's a diagnostic. That's part of the process, potentially. But if you're not clear about what that is and you're offering it to your customer, when you ask them for the cash and they go all pale and think, are you charging me? Your proposition wasn't very good. Fancy a bit? The answer is no. Not if it's that. So you shouldn't have the not if it's that. The not if it's that should be clear before you fancy a bit. Okay, so it's quite clear and easy to structure the message. Yeah. Can you explain what it is? So in a room, there's a thing called an elevator pitch. Everyone's seen Dragon's Den? Get in the button, press the button, and they go, oh my God, we're going to see the dragons. And they walk out and they go, do the elevator pitch. What is it you want my money for? And they go, Mr. I've got a thing that does a thing, and some of them are really good and some are really bad. What is your elevator pitch to yourself about your proposition for diagnostics to your customers? If you had to explain it to yourself, what would it be? Rhetorical question. Can you write it down and could you repeat it? And is it clear to everybody? and you don't have special services for Ned or Fred that's been coming to the garage for 40 years, or unspecial services for Ted or Bill that's a new customer? Have you got a clear proposition for everybody? And that way there is no variability. Oh, you're not Fred, you're Ted, so we do it like this. And then people that don't know get it wrong. So a clear proposition that's standardized for everyone works a treat, because we all know where we're coming from. Process businesses that are brilliant. Would you like fries with that? Is there any variability? Yes and no. McDonald's, do they have a system and a process that you know exactly what you're getting for when you come together? Yeah, you do. Is there any variability? Or sometimes the fries like this, or big and thick, and the burger's got 8 in one time and 2 the other time and half. No, their standard offer is repeatable and process driven. And that's something we could probably learn from in making the same in our business. So making money from diagnostics comes from making the proposition, having a standard offer, making the customer aware, and then agreeing to do or not to do business. Not to do business? What do you mean, not to do? Well, perhaps if they're expecting something different that you can offer, rather than have a relationship which then breaks down, best maybe not to enter in the relationship in the first place. You are not right for here. You are looking for something we do not provide. I'd like a ribeye steak at the window number 2. What do they say? You are in the wrong location. They don't suddenly go to the fridge, start refilling through at McDonald's. Bloke here wants a ribeye. We got one. Yeah, I think there's one here from 1942. Grab it out, slab it on the grill. Yeah, ribeye, stumpf. Met your need, mate. No, you don't. We don't do that. You've asked for something that's incompatible with our value proposition. So your diagnostics can't be we do everything for everybody. It has to be narrowed in and focused in the stuff you're brilliant at, that you're geared up for. And that is one of the ways you'll make money at diagnostics. Quite simple. Get a structure, get a format, execute it relentlessly. Everyone knows what we're doing. Propose it to the customer, agree beforehand, and that's the beginning of the end of the seminar. It's very, very easy. How did your diagnostics offer get to where it is today? It has grown organically based on the most amount of aggravation you've had from the most amount of people. And you've been knocked into shape of doing the less objectionable thing possible to have the lowest number of complaints. Are you doing your process by design, or are you doing it in the fact that it's the way you think you should do it? It's a question. Not sure. The $1 million question, well, not quite $1 million, it ranges somewhere between 50 and 100 quid. But the question about diagnostics, how much and how long? The two fabled questions. When somebody in their car, the light has been on since before Christmas last year, tomorrow they are going to Africa. Can I take my car to your garage? Can you have a quick look? Because I want to go to Africa tomorrow, and will it make it? And how much will it cost? And how long will it take? Does that happen? Cool. How many times does it happen? Almost every single time. We're getting some nods. What is your answer? What's your standard reply to that? If you've seen that question 1 million times and you know it's coming, you've had ample opportunity to prepare a retort. What is it? We haven't got one, have we? It sort of depends. We look at the customer up and down a little bit. What sort of person is this? Spidey senses. Are they going to freak out if I say what I'm thinking? And then we pick one of the answers that's in our head and we say, this. Oh my God! Oh God, I got it wrong. Well, yes, sign me in. The problem is this is a variable that we know not the answer to, but it comes up as a question. It's called an objection. So before I give you my money, customer says, I want to know the answers to this. Your proposition needs more detail. That's what that says. You haven't given me enough information. Fancy a bit of what? All right, so we're not clear in what we're presenting. So there's a little job to do there. We do this for that. Do you want it? That's the McDonald's principle. Not a can I have a ribeye, mate? They're very clear about their proposition. So we have to think about this. How much and how long? Working up your proposition, deciding. What is the average charge for a diagnostic? What is the average diagnostic? Two big questions there. And we don't really know the answer. There is how do we come up with the price point? How do we work out what my diagnostic charge is? Well, Fred down the road, who's got one of these super duper scanner, charges £32.50. Nev up the road here charges nothing. So I'm in my price range in my head is somewhere between everything and nothing. Quite a narrow band, I would say. I'd venture to guess a narrow band. But how do we decide? Here's what some of the big chains are charging for the grand sum of £49.99. If you're charging less than this, you may not be as good as these people. I'll leave that thought with you. If your diagnostics is less than this, Halfords are probably better than you. Right? That's just a thing that goes on in our head. They're charging more, therefore they must be better. And if my charge is less, I must be worse. Customers have this value in their head. So your limiting lower price ought not to be less than that. If you're invested in equipment and some level of training, this is the lower level of the benchmark. No, I'd lie. There's one lower level. Free. Free. Whoever got rich for free? Anybody here in the room made £1 million from being free? No, but we feel really good. Yes, it's a bit like, I won't say what it's a bit like, but free is not great. So the value proposition has to have a number attached to it. You have to define your service and you have to execute it relentlessly in a systemized approach and be very confident that what you're offering is what you can deliver and it's what the customer wants. How easy is this stuff? How to make money from diagnostics is systemization of the process. Having an idea of what you're doing, having an idea of what the customer wants and delivering it. Bish, bash, bosh. Mark's from Bosch here, by the way, so I had to get that one in, otherwise he would have left. So, this is how we do it. How successful is the open proposition to the market? Our diagnostics is this. So I did a Google. What's a Google? You know, it's that internet thing, the font of all knowledge. Why we don't need to go to school anymore? Because we find it on Google. So I did a Google check, car diagnostic checkbook align Halfords, and it is their URL. Right, if this works, their reviews are going to be through the roof. So these little stars underneath it, how many of their gazillion customers are happy with their proposition? One person was so annoyed they left them a review and it was 1 star. What can we infer from that form of customer feedback? 1. 1. Most people are so annoyed they can't even be asked to leave a bad review. I'm moving on with my life. Phew, you're $49.99. I'm going to go and get it done properly. Elsewhere, something else. If it worked, what would that number be? Gazillions. And what would that star rating be? Gazillions. Okay, so there's a clue. My favorite saying, the Chinese have a proverb. The wise man learns from his mistakes. The Japanese, you've got to love them, have a better saying. The wiser man learns from somebody else's mistakes. Okay, there's a lesson for free from Google about your proposition. At $49.99, the way they do it doesn't look like, according to general motoring public, that it works. So we could avoid. We could have a different tactic, potentially. This is the problem. The heartbeat of the issue is the word. Diagnostic. What is that? What I reckon's on your car is, my mate down the pub, I've been on Google, I've got my Foxwell scan tool reader in the glove box, I've got a code here that says, my mate had one of these and it did this. Okay, so these are all spheres of influence around the thing diagnostic, all right? Diagnostic is coming from a Greek word, and it's brilliant. If you look at the origination, to be able to distinguish, to make a call between this or this, car problem, root cause analysis, fix it. That's the process. What does diagnostic actually mean in the context of us as a trade? What's diagnostic to you, sir? What would you say? One word? One word. So what would you say? If you shut your eyes, I said diagnostic, what would ping into your mind? Fault finding. Yeah. Yeah, one word, yeah. Scan tool, plug-in, warning light, fault code. Okay, in that routine, it's quite common plug it in, fault code, warning light. In that chain of events, who in the room has had a problem car? You've executed that rudimentary diagnostic plan. Customer, warning light, plug in, fault code, and I fixed it. How many? There is a distinct absence of hands in the room, because that is not the process. But we kid ourselves that it is the process, because that's what we've been conditioned to do. Fault light, customer, plug in, fault code, part on, didn't fix it. Oh dear, how sad, never mind. We have now to have a plan B. Problem is now you've got an annoyed customer. You executed a plan that wasn't particularly good. You've now spent some money, and their situational hasn't changed. I still have a light on with a problem in my car, and now I owe you 50 quid. My situation as a downtrodden customer with a problem has not improved, yet I am now 50 quid worse off. And now you start the reverse. I can hear that gearbox crunch on your business as you try and reverse out of that job. All right, okay, yes, we need to do some further testing. Okay, why didn't we start with further testing? Bizarre, why didn't we start with the thing that's going to fix it? I need to do a comprehensive analysis on your vehicle. It is not about fault codes and plugin, because the 9 million jobs I've done before you turned up today on Thursday, that's never worked. But I'm a bit stuck in my ways, and I always do a plugin, a fault code, and I check the thing, and it doesn't work. So the next new one, I do the same thing. It's like having a big red sign up here, bang head on circle. Dunk, did that work? No. Okay. Going to try that again in a minute, because it may have changed. The wall may be softer. Diagnostic, yeah, plug in fault code reader, dunk, did it work? No. Okay, starting to make sense? No. Why do we do it? Because we always ever done. If you always do what you've always done, you will always get what you've always got. It is why we have no dodos in the world. Extinction prevailed. Adaptation did not occur, and the water level rose, and they couldn't swim. End of. So we have to change and adapt to make a better life for ourselves. And we probably have to move away from this word, because the word is polluted. My favorite one of my van man down the road who runs a garage, MOTs, servicing, repairs, air conditioning, wheel alignment, and diagnostics right at the bottom, on the back of his van door. And I know the diagnostics went on the door because he bought a tool from the tool man. I've got to add that to my list of services, because now, of course, I'm doing it because I've got one. Is it about the tool? Unfortunately not. So his proposition to his customers is a bit ruined because he doesn't do it. So other traps that we get into, this is my favorite one. Customer's got a horrendous problem with a job, going to Africa tomorrow. Don't worry, mate, bring it on up. We can take a quick look. A what? A quick look? I've had this problem on my car for 3 years. You're going to have a quick look and solve it for 50 quid. That's what you're saying to the customer, quick look. So we should avoid a quick look, because a quick look sums up some things. What in the world have you ever had that was quick, that was good value? Quick equals cheap. Fast. Does that equal good? Not necessarily, unless it's a car, then it won't be cheap. Good, fast, cheap. You can choose any two of these. Good, fast, cheap. Any two. Good and fast, it will not be cheap. Fast and cheap, it will not be good. Remember, only one thing from today, good, fast, cheap, only two. That is the world, the way the world works. That is it. What does quick suggest? Quick and easy. I'm in there, bish, bash, bosh. Well, why are you charging me then, if it's quick? What are you going to achieve in the quick look? Nothing. Is my light on? Yes, you are absolutely right, your light is on. That is a quick look. I'm confirming the situation that you've reported, and affirmative, it is. Yeah, but what are you going to do about it? Right, what am I going to do about it? That is a slightly different proposition now. I need to get in there. And I got no value in a quick. Quick doesn't work. And we start to condition our customers. He said quick, we said look. I'm going to plug it in. I'm plugging it in. Bring it up for a quick look, we'll plug it in. In a quick look, plug it in, quick look, plug it in, quick look, plug it in. What we say in our business is quick look, plug it in. Come on, come up to quick look, plug it in, we will. Have a quick look and plug it in. Is there anything in that business name that says fix? No, because what you're doing is slightly unconfident. You're not really sure if you can. So you're going, I'm not committing to you. I'll have a quick look and plug it in, and if I don't know, I'll back away from the job. But the customer's coming to you thinking you're going to solve it. So you need to change the way. You cannot quick look, you cannot plug it in, and if you mention the computer, is the computer doing all of the work? Pull a code up and give you the code. Does it help you further than that? Not at all. As we showed by the absence of the hands raised in the rooms, there is no merit in pulling a fault code. It will not give you the answer. If it gave you the answer, Halfords would have fixed it before he came to you. Is the realisticness of the nature of that thing. Plugging it in is not good. What does the computer do? It reads a code. What is the role of the technician? What does the biology add to the process of fixing a car? Here I am, a human being, attached to a computer, attached to a car. Is my role passive and one of a digit upon a screen? I read the codes. Okay, that's the limit of your input. That is, millions of years of evolution has boiled down to, I read the codes. Finger, eyeballs, repeat. It's got a fault code for a coolant sensor. Is that really what diagnostics is all about? Because a lot of it, quick look, plug it in, is exactly that. The limit of your scope, of your intellectual capability and millions of years of experience is, it's got a code, mate. We can try that part if you like and see if it fixes it. Are you happy with that? Yeah, crack on. And you're going, it ain't gonna work though. And we know that. Oh dear. But like staying around at somebody's house and leaving a little present in their bed, putting the covers back on and going, waiting for the phone call. Did you poo in my bed while you were staying around at my house? So quick look, plug it in, fault codes, replace the part, it doesn't work. Oh dear, there's going to be a sad message. What you did to my car and all the money you spent didn't work because it's doing exactly the same. So we ought to try and avoid it, that's the thing. And we ought to change the language. What we need to think about are these in terms of a process. Consistent, we're doing the same thing. We're communicating with the customer, they know what they're getting. And no jargon, we're just doing the right thing the right time. We talked a bit about customer selection. Do you want to have a quick look and a plug-in or diagnose everybody's car? Do you feel on a bound to take everyone's job on that comes through the door? Or can you be selective? What do you mean selective? We can choose my customer car matrix, patented. What's the customer car matrix? This is brilliant. I've got customers along the bottom. This is the extensive research and experiment of 126 years of practical experience. It all comes down to the customer car matrix. I've got wrong and right and wrong and right. So customer selection, when they come to your business to know if you're going to succeed in your diagnostics, comes a little bit, not necessarily to the car, because the driver of that car has got a distinct impact on the success of your relationship. If you have got the right customer, but you've got the wrong car, is that going to be a successful outcome? Oh, what do you mean the wrong car? Oh, he tells me he's had this problem for a long time. 86 other people have had a look at it, and it's been in the other garage for 9 months. Can you have a quick look? Okay, he might be a very nice customer, but he's got the wrong car. Do you want to take that on? Do you stand a chance of turning that frown upside down? You don't. Never going to be happy with what you're doing. Should we engage in the relationship, therefore, or should we deselect that customer from our list? Unfortunately, we have neither the scope, capabilities to support you in your resolution of your car. We're not taking it on, mate. It's not one we can do. Or do we have a quick look, plug it in, get the 50 quid, looks like a nightmare, take that somewhere else? Well, you knew that in the conversation. He told you that it'd been somewhere else for 9 months. You could offer better customer service by advising them of a way forward. But think about customer car matrix in terms of your diag. Do I want to look at it? Does it stand a chance of success? Is it a car I stand a chance of fixing or not? And if the answer to those no, I've got wrong in either the car or the customer, it's not one for me. Maybe it's a long-standing customer you can't say no to. You can still give them their best advice and refer them on. Does the GP open up the noggin and start rooting around in the frontal cortex because you've got a headache? Tell you what, mate, could have a bash at that while you're here. Just take the top of your skull off, open up there and have a root round. No, they refer you to somebody that's good at that stuff. And that you can do that as a garage to refer them to somebody else that can do that stuff. Do not be the GP brain surgeon. Know the limitation of your scope and advise them accordingly. One of the ways that we can get around this is the assessment, which is slightly different than a plug-in. And this is the last point I've got. The assessment is a way that you can look at the vehicle and understand the scope of the problem and do some testing and some measuring to try and establish the root cause of the problem. It's a process that's quite deep, but it takes you away from a quick plug-in to a process of evaluation. And it lifts you away from this habit of diagnostics, plugging it in, getting the code. Your proposition has to be a bit wider because you know the car needs more effort. It cannot be done. When did plug-ins start coming into our industry? 1991 or 2, when we had one sensor, one little plug, and nothing to go wrong, is where we started off with fault codes. Okay, and we're stuck in the habit of using that as our entry technique to now finding problems with the most complex machine out there, and it doesn't work. This isn't a customer problem, this is a garage process problem. Technology has moved on, and we need to change the way that we're thinking about doing it. Go away from the fault code reads and the plugins and get towards making an assessment of the way that vehicle's working and coming up with a report of what needs to be done next to solve their issue. It has to be a two-stage process. You have to charge a significant amount to be able to evaluate the vehicle in its terms. How does it work? What's it doing? Oh, well, how's this functioning? You need a bit of time. Sometimes when you do your assessment, you will actually get to the root cause. In my digging around, oh, I found it's a chafed wire around the back of the battery. Because I gave myself enough time to look at the car, because I proposed to the customer we were doing a different thing than a plug-in, and I had enough time to find out what was wrong. And I go back to the customer with the report. In order to solve your problem, because what I've done is detached the diagnosis from the fix. I've segmented that into two. This is what is wrong, this is what we need to do. I'm not bundling it in the diagnosis and the fix for 50 quid. We give the customer options about what's wrong with their horrendous vehicle, and we allow them to choose to proceed or not to proceed. But from a technician process point of view, diagnosis is reporting what could be done to solve the issue. Fixing is a separate process altogether. And when we make that clear to the customer, we can evaluate your status of your vehicle and report to you what might need to be done to correct the issue. That's our proposition. Would you like to proceed? Sounds interesting, because I've had a plug-in and that didn't work. And you go, phew, I'm on the right track here. Get the car up, give yourself enough time, go through your process of evaluation and report back. This is what needs to be done to try and resolve your issue. How would you like to proceed? It sounds like rocket science, but it's very, very simple. And this technique is the way to break the chain from failing at plugging in to being successful and making money from diagnostics. It's process, first off, and secondly, it's execution of your skills. So, I think at that point, I've got to the point of the journey in discussing how to make money from doing diagnostics. And I'm happy if any of you guys or girls have got questions. It's very early, so only easy ones, please. Anybody got any views on that? Anybody got anything? Disagree? Anybody violently disagree, want to throw stuff? No? Anybody agreeing? Anybody want to try it? Try it with a customer, see if it works. Do it gently, only do it with one and see how you get on. But change is what you need. Okay. Ladies and gents, if you've had enough, I've had enough. I'm going to get shepherded off the stage in a minute because our next esteemed speaker's coming up. I'd like to thank you for your attention, for coming along, and hopefully I've given you some cause for thought. If you want to catch up, I'll be hanging around afterwards if you want to ask any more detail. But for now, I'd like to thank you and hope you enjoy the rest of your show. Thank you.